to work aboard the spacecraft, so the team is taking some time to do so. You also heard Gibbons reference that we are in two dead bands. Dead bands are essentially keeping us in the lane in which we're traveling. If you're familiar with lane assist in your car, very similar in this case. We are now 10,870 miles away from the moon, traveling 1,066 miles per hour and 249,390 miles away from Earth. Again, we recently surpassed the Apollo 13 distance record of farthest humans have ever traveled. And upon calling down some words during that milestone, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen noting that he hopes that this record that they are setting today is soon broken by future explorers. This is Artemis Mission Control. We are standing by for the beginning of lunar flyby. Expecting that to start in just a few minutes when the crew will begin a warm-up discussion preparing for the day. They will be capturing images along while discussing what they find familiar about the moon and what looks unexpected to them. Again, just minutes away from the official start of lunar flyby, or when it is timelined for the crew. We are currently 10,726 miles away from the moon. This view on the left side of your screen coming from the camera on one of Orion's solar arrays. Other conversation points while the crew are getting ready for their flyby today. They'll be looking to orient themselves using major landmarks and annotating their observations along with their discussion. They'll have 10 minutes for that warm-up discussion.
Houston integrity. We have two folks at the window deep in discussion, all of the awesome features that they're seeing. That Hertzsprung is about the same size as our incredible Oriental. We're really excited about this target that's kind of new to us. We're orienting on things like how we talk about albedo, finding some of the prevalent things that we're used to from all of our training, and just overall taking in this view. We also are noticing that the moon is still getting noticeably bigger as we go, even when you're watching it continuously. It's great to see these two guys get warmed up.
We love the report, Christina. Thanks. And you nailed it on why we added Hertzsprung. As you'll see in the prompts, we're looking for comparisons to the comparatively much older Hertzsprung compared to the younger Oriental. Great words.
This is Artemis Mission Control. That was the voice of Dr. Kelsey Young speaking with the astronauts aboard Orion as they begin their observation period and lunar flyby. NASA astronaut Christina Cook reporting their view of Hertzsprung Basin. The team here is looking for centered images of the basin at a full zoom, and they're hoping that the astronauts can image and describe the inner and outer rings. This is considered a degraded basin with a floor, rings, and ejecta compared to a younger Oriental basin. We talked crew's sit reps or situation reports include embaying. This refers to one feature that surrounds another. That usually is a higher relief feature.
Houston Integrity, one report from the crew at the windows. We can actually see the moon and Earth at the same time right now. It's interesting because the Earth looks way brighter, so the Earth itself seems to have a much higher albedo than the moon. We think this is independent of our eyes focusing because, of course, the Earth is much smaller than the moon in our view. So you could think that your eyes focus for the darker sky, and that means that it only has apparent brightness more than the moon. But since we're seeing both in the same view, we do think that this can be inferred as the Earth as a whole has a higher albedo.
Great observation, Christina, and reminder that as you're starting to look for those subtle color and albedo variations on the moon, the relatively bright albedo Earth might make those a little bit difficult, but as your eyes continue to adjust, we expect you to start to see more nuance on the moon. Thanks.
Great call. Thanks for the reminder.
We're all going to be experts in lunar terminology by the end of the day. Another one we expect to hear is mare. These are dark regions paved or filled by volcanic deposits. You also can hear them called seas, oceans, lakes, or marshes, or other bodies of water. Again, we are live in Artemis Mission Control, but on the right side of your screen, that is the Science Evaluation Room, team members who have been preparing for this day for years. The crew has significantly darkened the cabin of Orion. This allows them better views outside the windows and fewer reflections from inside. They reported being able to see the moon and the Earth out the same window at this time. We are really hopeful to get those photos. Right now, this view on the left side of your screen coming from a camera mounted on one of the solar array wings on Orion outside the spacecraft. The crew is equipped with 80 to 400 millimeter zoom lenses.
Salve pessoal, boa tarde.
The team continues their warm-up discussion. I should say the crew members aboard Orion continue their warm-up discussion. However, they are about to be prompted to move on to discussion number 2, which is near side and far side. Some of the things that they are looking to capture, the ground has prompted them to photograph anything that stands out to them and to compare the near side versus the far side mare in color, albedo, topography, and texture. They also want the crew to compare the appearance of rayed craters in the near side mare versus in the far side highlands. Of course, a reminder that some of the items that the crew, or some of the landmarks the crew are seeing today, is the first time that humans have ever laid eyes on those portions of the moon. In the targeting package, there are a few reminders of the crew. For the crew, there are time-sensitive observation reminders and science sit rep reminders.
Integrity. We have a sit rep. The target being discussed right now, it's the far side, near side comparison, and hearing some great discussion of browns and greens in the Aristarchus Plateau and how those disappear as you go toward the North Pole, and then over to the far side, you lose the color. You've got Jeremy in window 2, Reed in window 1, having a great discussion. Christina's under window, I'm sorry, Reed is in window 3. Christina's under window 1, documenting the discussion. And we've got the lights completely off in the cabin. There are some LEDs that we cannot put out that do provide some light scatter. But we have all of the internal lights off. And are letting our eyes adjust as best we can. The window 4 view, you only get about a third of the moon. Tycho is going to go over the horizon soon, and you can see Aristarchus, and then you start to lose the view as you go to the west in Oceanus and Procellarum. So far, the team is on the plan, and the long lens is being put to good use, and recordings are being made, and internal documentation of the configuration and the observations is ongoing. Science, do you have any questions for us at this time?
Integrity Science. Victor, very glad that you provided the first formal science sit rep, as these were indeed your idea. One follow-up question, any relationship between those browns and greens you described? Do you see them blending into one another, and do you see any topography associated with either color?
I don't want to bother the window team. I just heard that, overheard that, and so I'm sorry I don't have that detail yet. I will eavesdrop and see if I can pick that up. I will try to answer that at some point. I also heard a comparison of the albedo in Aristarchus, that crater, the very high albedo spot you can see on the near side. There is a feature called, I believe, Burgess alpha that is equally or maybe higher albedo. I apologize for the gaps. I'm trying to listen and talk at the same time, but I will try to get some more information to correlate those colors from Aristarchus for you.
Understood, Victor, and good call to not bug the window team. Really like the brightness comparisons to Burgess A. Really helpful for the science team. Keep them coming. Thanks.
I also heard a discussion about the albedo of Grimaldi being a 10, and how many of us, when we were a little further away, saw that as the darkest albedo, and that the bigger Mare off to the to the east was still dark, but maybe a 7-8. We still think that, but you are seeing color variation, albedo variation inside of Grimaldi as well, and that even on the west side there's still a very dark part of it. But it is still the darkest. It is just not as uniform as it looked when we were farther away. We're starting to differentiate the striations of albedo inside of Grimaldi.
Copy all, Victor, and you read our mind. Superlatives like darkest, biggest are really, really helpful for us, so keep those coming.
As we were just mentioning, the crew is slated to perform these science sit reps. They are prompted to do so by an icon in their lunar targeting plan. That one coming down from NASA astronaut and pilot of Artemis II, Victor Glover. As we discussed, the Capcom is usually the only person in the room speaking with the crew, the capsule communicator. However, today, the science officer, Dr. Kelsey Young, she is the Artemis Science Flight Operations Lead, is speaking with the crew during the flyby to ask any questions that the team may have. To her right is Trevor Graff. He is one of 3 science officers. Those would be Kelsey Young, Trevor Graff, and Angela Garcia, who will also join us later for an interview.